So I just wanted to talk about my upcoming second EP, I'm Your Terrence, and also dive into little details about each track and how I wrote them. Like I said, the album is called I'm Your Terrence. You may ask, what is Terrence? Who is Terrence? And why did you name it that? I can tell you a lot about this album, but that's just one thing that I want to kind of keep it a secret because it's more fun that way. I wanted this EP to be an extension of the first one, I'm No Stranger to You, but at the same time, I wanted it to have its distinct, you know, identity to it, obviously. So, me and my producer, we did a lot of things that are more experimental, you know, and more challenging than the previous one, sonically and also production wise, and we had a lot of fun making it. Okay, so let's talk about tracks. The first one is called Architect of My Soul. Um, I was inspired by this movie called Tar. I watched it without knowing anything about it. I just watched it because of Kate Blanchett, you know. Um, and there's a scene in where she goes, "Unfortunately, the architect of your soul seems to be social media." And I was like, I took it so personally. I was like, "Oh, you read me like a book." And I took my phone out and I just wrote that line down. There was no one around me in the theater, and I got home and I started writing. I was like, "Oh, who is the architect of my soul?" And then I started writing the song, and I showed it to my producer, and I said, "I want this to sound like an unsent voice memo or voice note, and I wanted to make it sound as raw as possible." So we sat down and with just my mic and guitar, we recorded everything in one sitting in one go. And we didn't do any of the pitch correction, which I would have loved to. And we didn't do any of the crazy like sound effects or whatsoever. Uh, yeah, and I felt like this was the perfect opening song for the album, hence the first track. Second track is Dream of True Love. I have a lot to say about this track. This was probably the first song that I recorded for this album. I think I finished everything. Finished the production was finished in late 2020 or early 2023, I guess. But I just could not pinpoint what it was. But I felt like there was something missing, something so important. So I just could not release it. So we worked on a different song, which was I Know It's Love. And we put that out, and I was still not sure like whether I wanted to ever put a Dream of True Love out or not. And my producer always like asked me like, "Are you ever going to release this?" And I was like, "I don't know." So I gave it a few more weeks or even a month to just just trying to find out what was missing, and then I just recorded a bunch of vocals on this track and stacked a lot of harmonies, and that was it. I actually recorded the main vocal three times in the studio and two times at my place, but that was it. That was what was missing, the harmonies. I don't really believe in perfecting art, as corny as it sounds, but every time I listen to other people's work, it sounds divine. But when it comes to my song, I'm like, it's mid. It's like, it could. There's a plenty of room for it to get better, but whatever. But I am very content with the way it was put together, and yeah. The lyrics, they might seem self-explanatory, but they really are not. If you can guess who I'm dedicating this song to, it's like a fun riddle that you can solve. If you can guess correctly, just if you think you can guess correctly, DM me or something. I'll tell you if you got it right or wrong. But yeah, you kind of want to dissect the lyrics line by line, and it's gonna be more fun to listen to it. And track three is Daydreamer. I always wanted to write a fun, upbeat songs that you can not necessarily dance to, but something that you can just like, you know, vibe with. And I wrote this song 5 years ago, maybe. And I knew that it needed a band. But I didn't know, at that time, I didn't know anyone to play the electric guitar or bass, drums whatsoever. So that was just an idea that I had. But thanks to my producer, well, my wonderful producer, he made it happen, and I'm so thankful for him. And this song is about unrequited love, a dream that can come true, and but you are a daydreamer, you are a little psychotic, so you fantasize about all these things that you can do with this person, but as long as you keep your mouth shut, it's all safe and secret. So yeah, it's just a fun song to listen to. I really enjoyed making this. Track number 4 is called You Can't Make Sense of Everything, and this song is about rejection. In life, you come across many different kinds of people, and if you're lucky enough, you become friends with them, and you get to know them a little more, and sometimes you become, you get to be in a romantic relationship, whatever. But if you're not lucky enough, they drift away from your life without giving you an explanation or a reason as to why they decide to do that. And there are questions that have no answers to. Life throws those questions at you, and the only thing you can do is to just, I don't know, just live with them. You're only a man, we're only humans, so we cannot make sense of everything, and we don't necessarily have to make sense of everything. And that's where I got the idea from. The 5th track and the last track is called I Know It's Love, and this song is about toxic relationship. I was once in a relationship where everything they did, everything they said was so detrimental to my mental health. But I loved them to a point where everything didn't really matter that much. Well, I felt like it didn't matter that much. Like, for example, when they lie to you, instead of you confronting them or, asking them to be honest with you, you would rather just think, oh, I want to believe their lies so badly. Like, I want those lies to be true so that I can, feel all right. Or even when things that they did, whether it was actions or their words, things that used to hurt you don't no longer hurt you anymore. You're so desensitized by it, and you mistake that as you understanding them. So I'm like, oh, they did it because they had to, or they had no choice but to. But that's not the case. That's not it. That's not how it's supposed to be. So I felt like I was feeling that way because I didn't have enough self-respect, or like I didn't really love myself that much. Everything they did was very manipulative. That's why I was acting the way I was, but still I was not really content with everything that I was going through at that time. So with this song, I just want to talk about self-love. Everything has to start from within and start from you. And yeah, the outro is very long. It's just guitars and the piano, and I want you to be kind of like left with this poignant feelings, or whatever you were whatever that comes to your mind while you're listening to this song and this entire record. And I think it was like the perfect closing track for this album. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I loved making this. And I also have a concert coming up on the 31st of May. So if you want to come say hi, say hi.